Shadow in the Cloud. All right, let's get into this. I just want to state first off, I had no intention to review this movie because I saw this movie a few weeks back and I had no intention to review it because I didn't want to waste any more of my life than I already had to. So, because like I saw the movie, I think that's enough punishment. And just from saying that, like you guys know how I feel about this movie. Like I did not enjoy this movie at all. I actually have a lot of problems with it. So, and one of my New Year's resolutions of this year is to review as many new horror releases as possible. So let's start that off on a hopeful note and talk about the first January release of the new year. With Shadow in the Cloud starring Chloe Grace Moretz. So yeah, let's just get this review out of the way. I don't want to talk more about this movie than I already have to. So yeah, this movie is terrible. There are some good qualities in it. Chloe Grace Moretz, I think she is a terrific actor. I loved her in Greta. I loved her in the Kicker. I loved her in Kick-Ass. I think she's a really talented actress, and I think while this isn't her best performance, I think she is one of the better parts of this movie because there is a lot of how to put this, a lot of emotional beats, especially from certain conversations she hears and how she responds to to this banter, and just some of the conversations that are tossed around. It's a very it makes her character stand out because she is this story is focused on her, and it's a lot of it is from her perspective and how she sees things, and through this throughout the story, like you see her emotions and feelings and all that. And for like a good 40 minutes of this movie, and the camera is like it doesn't really like move. It's more you see Chloe Grace Moretz. It's more just kind of seeing her, like her hearing this conversation, and seeing like her face at how she reacts to it, which like that does make her a strong character in this. But I just thought like her emotion. I thought it just, to me, it looked like she was just kind of like doing this for like the paycheck. Um, like I said, she is good in this movie. She just isn't the greatest in this movie. Like she is good in the emotional beats, but or in the emotional parts, but she just doesn't deliver it like that well. And like I can kind of see why, because like if you were like a World War II flight pilot or soldier, and like you would kind of have to hide your feelings, and that's like I don't know too much about war, but like you would have to hide a lot of those feelings, and you just have to kind of like let them go. You know, you have to be stronger, and I think that's something I can see what the movie was trying to do there with her character. Um, and so yeah, what else did I like in this movie? While you don't see the creatures a whole lot in this movie, they are there. Like they kind of pop their head up every now and then in the second act, but you don't really get a clear look at it until I'd say maybe the third act, if I'm remembering it correctly, because the final battle between Chloe Grace Moretz and the and like these, what is it, like mouse bat things that they're fighting. The final fight takes place on land, and while that is a really kick-ass fight scene, it's very short. It's like less than a minute. So yeah, like I thought that was a disappointment because I thought the movie was building to something epic, and then then just kind of dropped. You know, it's just um, I felt like this movie had a lot more potential. But like, yeah, like I'll talk about my negatives in a minute, but just staying on topic, the creatures are like, as far as designs, I think the CGI looks good. I think the whole design and texture of it looks really good. And I think that's about where my enjoyment of this movie comes. So yeah, let's get into my negatives. The editing is painful in this movie. The way they introduce characters in this movie feels so forced in there to make you care about these characters, and it's so disjointed from the story, and it's not the editing does not flow in this movie, and even what we get, it just feels so here, care for these characters. And it's a very forceful way to give character development to your characters. It's just, I hated the editing on the character's introduction to what's actually happening with the main story. I found it very disjointed. I found it very distracting, and the editing, it just does not have a flowing pace throughout the movie. Like, it jumps from here to here to here, and it's the most disjointed story. And it's, yeah, I from the trailer of this movie, like, this movie looks so much fun from the trailer. Like, there's maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of action in the entire, however long this runtime is. I don't know how long this movie is, but the movie felt longer than it was. This movie dragged on for such a long time, and then by the ending, like, I didn't really care. I found our end payoff was very disappointing. Even though the final fight was cool, but that's not enough to say that yes, this is a good movie. Yes, I'm going to watch this movie a second time. Like, it's not, because this type of a movie I've seen before, and it's been done like way better. It's like, this movie, like, it's not original, I would say, because there are other movies set during World War II or another part of the war with creatures in it. So the movie's, yeah, very like unoriginal. The movie, it stretches your belief of reality. Like, there's a scene that you saw in the trailer where Chloe Grace Moretz is falling, her character is falling, and the plane somehow, like, it explodes, and then she bounced back up onto the plane. And that, I was just like, when I saw that in theaters, I bursted out with laughter, because I was just like, how, like, there's no way any human being, it's not like her character has like super human strength to survive something. Like, if she did, sure, that makes sense. But since she's just a normal human, she fell into an exploding plane, and from a height that would kill you on impact. There's no way she would have survived that. So you really have to stretch your belief of reality in this movie. And because I don't know why they added that scene in, but I found that just like a very ridiculous way to keep our main character alive. But yeah, and even the directing, like the directing and the cinematography, while is pretty good, it is very lazy. The directing in this, it's like, I don't like to shit on movies. Like, I like to do reviews, and like, I like to say, oh, this movie was great, like, I recommend you go see it. But this isn't one like I recommend you see, because like, there's better creature features out there, and you can have a better performance from Chloe Grace Moretz in her other movies in her filmography. So yeah, this movie was just a disappointment. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Don't watch this. There's much better movies and much better creature features out there. So.